Energy doesn't just flow through wires. It flows through power, through politics, through the quiet decisions that shape nations long after the lights turn on. On paper, Germany looks like a miracle. Wind slicing through the North Sea, solar panels glinting across rooftops, coal plants shutting down, nuclear towers falling silent, a modern economy choosing morality over convenience, progress over profit. But systems remember what headlines forget. Because beneath the turbines and solar farms, something else was moving, slowly, invisibly. Contracts were signed. Dependencies deepened. Costs were deferred. Risks were politely ignored, not out of ignorance but out of confidence. Germany didn't just bet on green energy. It redesigned its entire economic engine around it. And for a while it worked. Prices stayed stable, industry hummed, Europe followed. Until one day, energy stopped being cheap. Security stopped being guaranteed. And the system revealed its weakest point. What happens when the cleanest vision collides with the harshest reality? And what if the trap wasn't environmental, but economic? Germany is not just Europe's largest economy. It is its industrial heart. From automobiles to chemicals, from machine tools to pharmaceuticals, Germany's prosperity has always depended on one invisible input above all others: cheap, reliable energy. Energy that runs factories through the night. Energy that stabilizes prices. Energy that allows long-term planning in a world obsessed with short-term gains. In the early 2000s, Germany made a historic choice. It would lead the world into a cleaner future. The policy was called Energiewende, the energy transition, a national project to abandon nuclear power, phase out coal, and replace them with renewables like wind and solar, not as an experiment but as a moral statement. By the 2010s, Germany had become a global symbol of green ambition. Over 40% of its electricity came from renewables. Hundreds of billions of euros flowed into subsidies, infrastructure, and grid expansion. But the real story was never about solar panels. It was about what Germany removed, what it replaced it with, and the assumptions holding the system together. Because beneath the promise of sustainability lay a fragile equation, one that only worked under perfect conditions. And perfect conditions never last. To understand Germany's green energy trap, you have to return to a moment of confidence, when stability felt permanent and risk felt abstract. After World War II, Germany rebuilt itself on discipline and engineering precision. Its energy system mirrored that philosophy. Coal offered domestic security. Nuclear power delivered scale, reliability, and low marginal cost. By the 1990s, nuclear energy supplied nearly 30% of Germany's electricity, stable, carbon-free, and predictable. But history leaves scars. Chernobyl in 1986 didn't just contaminate land, it contaminated trust. Nuclear power became politically untouchable. When the Green Party rose, energy transformed from a technical issue into a moral one. In 2000, the Renewable Energy Sources Act quietly laid the foundation. Feed-in tariffs guaranteed renewable producers above market prices, paid not by the government, but by consumers. Invisible, effective, politically elegant. Renewables expanded rapidly, not because they were efficient, but because they were protected. Then came the irreversible decision. After Fukushima in 2011, Germany accelerated its nuclear shutdown. Reactors closed early, capacity disappeared, storage didn't exist, grids weren't ready. So the gap was filled with the fastest solution available: natural gas. Cheap, flexible, reliable, and imported. The trap was set, not by malice but by trust. For years, the system appeared stable, not resilient, just calm. Russian gas flowed through pipelines like Nord Stream, supplying over 55% of Germany's gas by the late 2010s. Long-term contracts kept prices low. Industry optimized around it. Dependency was reframed as cooperation. Factories expanded. Chemical plants thrived. Energy-intensive sectors quietly anchored themselves to a single assumption: gas would always be there. Meanwhile, nuclear power vanished. Coal became taboo. Renewables grew, but unevenly. Power generation concentrated in the north. Consumption dominated the south. Transmission lines stalled. Bottlenecks multiplied. Then reality arrived. First, the pandemic strained supply chains. Prices rose. Then, in 2022, geopolitics detonated the illusion. Russia's invasion of Ukraine turned energy into a weapon. Gas prices surged over 1,000% at their peak. Germany scrambled. Factories slowed. Fertilizer plants shut down. Production shifted abroad. The government spent over 200 billion euros cushioning the shock. Coal plants reopened. LNG terminals appeared overnight. Climate targets quietly bent. Not because ideals vanished, but because the system had no margin for failure. In economics, redundancy isn't inefficiency. It's survival. The real trap wasn't renewable energy. It was how the market was designed. Europe prices electricity using the marginal cost system. The most expensive energy source sets the price. That meant gas-controlled prices even when wind and solar were cheap. Renewables lowered emissions, but not bills. German households ended up paying some of the highest electricity prices in the world, while industrial giants received exemptions to stay competitive. The public subsidized the transition and corporate stability. Intermittency created another silent engine of profit. Weather-driven volatility rewarded traders, balancing markets, and grid operators. And storage, the missing pillar, was always delayed. Too costly, too slow, too inconvenient. So Germany built a green system that still depended on fossil backup, foreign supply chains, and financial shock absorbers. Sustainability was the headline. Fragility was the fine print. Every system eventually shows who pays. Households absorbed rising bills. Energy became anxiety, something to manage, something subsidized. Workers felt uncertainty. Renewable jobs grew, but industrial security weakened. Regions built on heavy industry faced existential questions. And culturally, something shifted. Germany's identity, reliability, foresight, stability, met a system that blurred accountability. No villains, no heroes, just layered decisions across decades. Every paycheck now carries history. Every purchase echoes policies written long ago. This is not a story of failure. It's a story of how power hides inside systems and how wealth is shaped by structure, not intention. Germany's green energy trap wasn't one mistake. It was a sequence of confident choices. A vision built without enough tolerance for stress. A system optimized for peace, not pressure. The lesson isn't that green energy failed. It's that transitions must be resilient, not just righteous. Energy shapes industry. Industry shapes society. And society pays for what it underestimates. As Germany recalibrates, the story continues. So the real question is whether the future is green. It's whether we're building systems strong enough to survive reality. If this changed how you see energy and power, share your thoughts in the comments. Like the video for deep, honest analysis. Subscribe, because the most important economic forces are the ones we rarely see. The lights are still on, but the bill is still coming.